Have you ever wondered what you would do if you had a heart attack while completely alone? Imagine this. You're in your kitchen, your garden, or maybe just reading quietly in your living room, when, out of nowhere, you start to feel strange. Maybe it's a sudden wave of exhaustion, a bit of dizziness, or even just an odd pressure in your back. Would you recognize these as warning signs, or would you brush them off, hoping they'll go away? Every year, thousands of seniors face this terrifying moment by themselves, and for many, precious minutes are lost in confusion, fear, or denial. The truth is, most of us think we'd know exactly what to do, but studies show that 65% of heart attack deaths in people over 60 happen before they ever reach a hospital. Why? Because the symptoms in seniors are often different, much more subtle, and dangerously easy to ignore. That's why today's video could be the most important one you've ever watched. I'm Dr. William Carson, and after 40 years as a cardiologist, I've seen lives saved and lost in those first few minutes. In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 critical, science-backed steps every senior should know to survive a heart attack alone. You'll discover real stories, practical tips you can use right now, and life-saving information that isn't widely taught, even by doctors. Stay with me until the end, because this knowledge might not just save your life, it could save someone you love. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Tip number 1. Recognize the unique warning signs in seniors. If there's one lesson I wish I could shout from the rooftops to every older adult and their loved ones, it's this. The warning signs of a heart attack in seniors are often nothing like the dramatic scenes we see on TV or in movies. This tip isn't just important, it's life-saving. The sooner you learn to spot these unique signs, the better your chances, or your loved one's chances, of surviving a heart attack and living many more happy, healthy years. Growing up, I, like so many others, had a clear picture in my mind of what a heart attack looked like. A person suddenly grabbing their chest, collapsing in agony, and gasping for air. It's such a powerful image. It's easy to believe that's what always happens. But the reality, especially for adults over 60, is very different, and that's what makes this tip so urgent. Heart attacks in seniors are sneaky. They whisper rather than shout. And unless you're listening carefully, you might miss their quiet warning until it's too late. The American Heart Association recently reported something that honestly shocked me. Almost 40% of seniors who have a heart attack never experience that dramatic, crushing chest pain we all expect. That's right, almost half of heart attacks in older adults show up in completely different, subtle, and sometimes confusing ways. Doctors call them atypical symptoms, but honestly, there's nothing unusual about them for people in their golden years. For seniors, these gentle but persistent warning signs are the most common way the body signals trouble. Let me share a real-life story that still makes my heart race when I think about it. Last year, one of my most inspiring patients, Joyce, was 83 and living on her own. She's bright, lively, and independent. Someone who never wants to make a fuss. One afternoon, Joyce felt a sudden wave of deep exhaustion. Not just tiredness, but a heavy, unexplained fatigue that seemed to drain every ounce of her energy. She felt a little dizzy, a bit off, and just not quite right. No chest pain. No dramatic symptoms. If it weren't for her thoughtful neighbor, who noticed Joyce's pale complexion and how unsteady she seemed, Joyce might have ignored those signals. That neighbor acted fast and called 911. And that quick decision likely saved Joyce's life. So what should you watch out for? Here are the senior-specific warning signs of a heart attack you absolutely must keep in mind, for yourself and for those you love. Unusual fatigue or weakness. We all get tired sometimes, but this is different. It's a sudden, overwhelming exhaustion that can't be explained. It can hit out of nowhere and feel much more severe than ordinary tiredness. Shortness of breath. Maybe you're just walking to the mailbox or getting up from a chair, and suddenly you're out of breath, when yesterday you were perfectly fine. This kind of breathlessness, especially if it's new or getting worse, should never be ignored. Unexpected sweating. Imagine breaking out in a cold, clammy sweat for no reason, especially if you're not overheated or exercising. That's a huge red flag. Nausea, indigestion, or upper abdominal discomfort. Sometimes, a heart attack in seniors can feel like stomach trouble, nausea, indigestion, or pain high up in the belly. It's so easy to write off as something you ate, but it can be a warning sign. Lightheadedness, dizziness, or sudden confusion. For older adults, confusion can be the very first and only symptom of a heart attack. If someone suddenly seems disoriented, don't brush it off. Pain or discomfort in unexpected areas. Pain might show up in the jaw, neck, back, or even one arm, not just the chest. These odd pains can be the body's way of signaling a heart problem. Sleep disturbances or persistent fatigue in the days leading up. Believe it or not, many seniors experience sleep problems or worsening fatigue for days or even a week before a major heart attack strikes. And for women over 60, please take this to heart. You are even more likely to experience these quieter, less obvious symptoms, especially profound tiredness, shortness of breath, and nausea. Don't let anyone, including yourself, convince you it's just part of getting older. I cannot emphasize this enough. Recognizing these unique warning signs and acting quickly can be the difference between life and death. Too many seniors delay calling for help because they expect that movie-style, crushing chest pain. They wait, they second-guess themselves, or they worry about causing a fuss. Please, don't make that mistake. If something feels wrong, especially if you notice several of these symptoms at the same time, trust your instincts and seek help immediately. Your body knows when something isn't right. Listen to it. You deserve to be here, to enjoy your family, your friends, your memories, and all the beautiful moments yet to come. In the next tip, I'll walk you through what you can do, step by step, if you find yourself alone and facing these warning signs. Your knowledge today could save your life tomorrow. Tip number 2. Call 911 immediately. Don't drive yourself. This second tip might sound obvious on paper, but in real life, it's the step where so many people, especially older adults, make a split-second decision that changes everything. If you suspect you're having a heart attack, please call 911 immediately and do not drive yourself to the hospital. I say this not just as medical advice, but from the bottom of my heart, because I've seen firsthand how one small choice can make all the difference between survival and tragedy. It's natural to feel the urge to take control or to avoid causing a fuss. Maybe you think, I don't want to bother anyone. I can just drive myself and get checked out. I completely understand that instinct. But here's the truth. Every single minute counts during a heart attack. The science is sobering and crystal clear. According to the American Heart Association, for each passing minute without emergency care, more heart muscle dies. By 10 minutes, you could be on the edge of irreversible damage. By 30 minutes, the damage is often severe and permanent. These are not just numbers. They represent pieces of your future, your independence, your ability to hug your grandkids or enjoy another sunrise. Why is it so important not to drive yourself? There are several powerful reasons. First, just sitting behind the wheel, especially while anxious and in pain, can put enormous extra strain on your heart. Your body is already fighting for every heartbeat, and the mental and physical stress of driving can tip the scales in the wrong direction. Second, and maybe even more alarming, is the very real risk that your condition could worsen in an instant. Heart attacks don't follow a script. You might think you're okay to drive, but what if you suddenly faint, or your pain spikes, and you lose control? In that terrifying moment, you're not only putting your own life at risk, you're also endangering everyone else on the road. I get chills just thinking about it. And here's what many people don't realize. When you call 911, you're not just calling for a ride. You're activating a whole emergency response team. Paramedics in today's ambulances are highly trained, carrying medications, defibrillators, and everything they need to start treating you immediately. Treatment doesn't begin at the hospital doors. It starts the minute they arrive at your side. They can give you oxygen, start in 4, monitor your heart, and even alert the hospital's cardiac team so everything is ready the second you roll in. That can mean the difference between life and death. Let me tell you about Anthony, one of my patients, who is the very picture of independence. At 76, he'd always prided himself on handling everything alone. But when he felt that crushing chest pain and struggled to breathe, he made a decision he still regrets. Instead of calling 911, he got in his car, determined to make it to the ER by himself. Tragically, he lost consciousness at a stoplight and crashed. It was only because another driver saw what happened and dialed 911 that Anthony survived, but not without further injury and a longer, harder recovery. I'll never forget his words to me later, voice shaking. "Doc, I was a fool. That decision almost cost me everything." So, what exactly should you do if you find yourself alone and worried you might be having a heart attack? First, stop what you're doing immediately. Don't try to tough it out or finish a chore. Sit or lie down somewhere safe and comfortable. Then, call 911 right away. Don't second-guess yourself. Even if you aren't sure it's a heart attack, let the professionals make that judgment. When the dispatcher answers, tell them clearly, "I'm a senior and I think I might be having a heart attack." That single sentence helps them prioritize your case so help gets to you even faster. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. If you're able, unlock your door so first responders can reach you if you pass out. If you have a medical alert device, use it too. Some connect you directly to operators who will stay with you on the line until paramedics arrive. And please, don't call a friend or family member before you call 911. I know you want someone you love by your side, but even a 1 or 2 minute delay can have serious consequences. I can't say this enough. Calling for professional help isn't a sign of panic or weakness. It's an act of strength and wisdom. You're giving yourself the very best chance to recover and return to the people and life you love. Remember, every minute you wait is a minute lost. Not just for your heart, but for your future. Please, learn from Anthony's story and so many others. Promise yourself right now, if it ever happens, you will call 911 immediately. And as we move on to the next tip, keep in mind, the choices you make in those first precious moments truly matter more than anything else. Tip number 3, take aspirin correctly. Timing and dosage matter. This third life-saving tip is about something so common. You probably have it sitting in your medicine cabinet or tucked away in your kitchen drawer, a simple bottle of aspirin. But please believe me when I say, knowing how and when to take aspirin during a heart attack can be the difference between life and death. I've seen it firsthand, and it's heartbreaking how many people miss this step or get it wrong, often because no one ever explained the details to them. Let's talk about why aspirin matters so much. Imagine this. In the terrifying moments when a heart attack strikes, a blood clot forms inside a coronary artery and blocks the life-giving blood flow to part of your heart. The damage can happen fast. Aspirin, as simple as it sounds, acts as a powerful shield by stopping platelets in your blood from clumping together, helping to keep that dangerous clot from getting any bigger. This tiny pill can buy you precious time until help arrives. The science is clear. According to research from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, taking aspirin during a heart attack can reduce the risk of dying by up to 23%, but only if you do it the right way. I'll never forget my patient Sylvia, who was 68 when she called me after a frightening experience. She did so many things right. She recognized her symptoms, she remembered to take aspirin, but then 2 small details almost put her in more danger. She swallowed the aspirin whole, and she washed it down with a big glass of water. She was stunned when I told her that both of those habits slowed the medicine's ability to help her heart. Can you imagine thinking you're doing everything right, only to find out you were just a few small steps away from a much better outcome? That conversation with Sylvia changed how I talk to all my patients about this vital tip. So please, if you or a loved one ever faces the signs of a heart attack, here's exactly what you need to do, step by step. First, as soon as you suspect a heart attack and call 911, reach for 325 milligrams of aspirin right away. That's either 1 full-strength regular adult aspirin or 4 of the 81 milligrams baby aspirin tablets. Second, and this part is so important, don't just swallow the pill with water. Chew the aspirin thoroughly before swallowing. Chewing helps the medication get into your bloodstream in as little as 5 minutes, compared to a whopping 30 minutes if you just swallow it whole. In those critical moments, every second counts, and this simple act of chewing could be the thing that saves your heart. Third, only take a tiny sip of water, just enough to help you get the aspirin down. A large amount of water can slow down how quickly your body absorbs the medicine. Fourth, make sure you tell the 911 dispatcher and every medical professional you see. Let them know exactly how much aspirin you took and the time you took it. This helps guide your emergency care. A couple of very important cautions. Never take aspirin if you know you are allergic to it, have a bleeding disorder, are on certain blood thinners, or if your doctor has ever told you to avoid aspirin. And be sure it's aspirin, not Tylenol, not Advil, not any other pain reliever, because only aspirin has the clot-busting effects your heart needs in a crisis. From my heart to yours, I urge every senior, and honestly anyone over 60, to keep aspirin easily within reach. Put a few tablets in a small container in your purse, your nightstand, the kitchen, even the glove box of your car. In an emergency, you don't want to waste a single precious second hunting for that little white pill. Those moments can mean everything. And please remember, while aspirin is a critical tool, it does not replace calling for emergency help. The best hope comes from calling 911 and taking aspirin as described while you wait for paramedics. That powerful 1-2 punch has saved countless lives, including people just like Sylvia, and perhaps one day, someone you love. In the next tip, I'll share what position your body should be in while you wait for help to arrive, a small detail that can make a world of difference for your chances of survival. So please, stay with me and take these life-saving steps to heart. Your life is precious, and knowing these simple details could make all the difference. Tip number 4. Position yourself for survival, sitting versus lying down. This fourth life-saving tip is one that hits close to my heart because it goes against so much of what we've been led to believe, especially from movies and television. So many people, including some of my loved ones, assume that if you're having a heart attack, the best thing to do is to lie down flat and just hope for the best. But the truth is, the way you position your body in those crucial, terrifying moments can mean the difference between life and death, especially for seniors whose hearts are already working so hard every single day. I'll never forget one of my patients, Carlos, a kind, gentle man of 77, with a big smile and a love for classic westerns. He was alone at home when the unmistakable chest pain struck. The fear and confusion were overwhelming, but Carlos tried to do what he thought was right. He remembered a scene from a movie where the hero, clutching his chest, was told to lie flat on the ground. So that's what Carlos did. He lowered himself to the floor, flat on his back, thinking he was helping himself. But instead, he found it harder to breathe, and his anxiety soared. It still pains me to think about how vulnerable he must have felt in those moments. When the paramedics arrived, they recognized the problem instantly and quickly repositioned him, making it easier for him to breathe and giving his heart the break it so desperately needed. This story matters because it shows how easy it is to get things wrong, even with the best intentions. That's why I want you to remember this. Position matters more than you think. So, what should you do if you find yourself, or someone you love, in this terrifying situation? The answer depends on how you're feeling. If you're struggling to catch your breath, which is so common among seniors during a heart attack, the very best thing you can do is to sit upright in what doctors call the high fowlers position. Sit up straight, keep your back supported, and let your knees relax, either bent or straight. I cannot stress enough how much this simple position can ease your heart's burden and allow your lungs to expand. You'll be able to breathe a little easier, and in those moments, every single breath matters. If you're feeling dizzy or faint, something I know can be scary, don't force yourself to stay perfectly upright. Instead, recline back a bit, about a 45-degree angle, and make sure your head and back are supported. This gentle angle helps keep blood flowing to your brain while still protecting your heart. Nausea is another symptom that many seniors experience but don't always talk about. If you're feeling sick to your stomach, sit up and, if you can, lean just a little to your left side. It sounds simple, but this position can help prevent choking if you vomit. One less thing to worry about in a moment already filled with fear. No matter what, please, don't try to walk around or tough it out while waiting for help. Find a stable spot to sit or recline, and stay put. The risk of falling is real, especially if you feel faint, and an injury could make a bad situation so much worse. And yes, go ahead and loosen tight clothing, especially anything snug around your chest, neck, or waist. Even something as small as loosening a collar or belt can make a difference. Sometimes, it's the tiniest actions that give us a sense of control when the world feels like it's spinning out of control. Temperature is another thing we rarely think about, but it matters. Heart attacks can cause those awful, clammy cold sweats, and for older adults, shivering is more than just uncomfortable. It makes your heart work harder. If you're feeling cold, wrap yourself in a blanket or put on a sweater. Don't try to tough it out. You deserve to be comfortable and safe. One last, incredibly important thing. Location matters. If you can, choose a spot near your unlocked front door so emergency responders can reach you quickly. If you're upstairs, resist the urge to go down. Just call 911, tell them exactly where you are, and wait. I know it's hard, especially when you want to be helpful, but your health comes first. Please remember, these positions and precautions are not a cure. They're just temporary measures to protect your heart while you wait for professional care. Every second counts, and everything you do in those moments can give you a fighting chance. You're not alone in this. And in the next tip, we'll talk about a powerful way to manage the pain and anxiety that can make these situations even more frightening. Because sometimes, calming your mind is just as important as caring for your heart. Tip number 5. Control your breathing. The 4-7-8 technique. This fifth life-saving tip touches on something we all take for granted every single day, our breath. Yet, in moments of crisis, especially during a heart attack, consciously controlling your breathing can become one of your greatest sources of strength and hope. I've seen, time and again, how the simple act of mindful breathing can transform sheer panic into calm determination, even in the darkest, scariest moments. Let's be honest. When you feel that crushing pain in your chest, fear takes over. Your mind races. Your heart pounds so loudly you can almost hear it echoing in your ears. For older adults, this flood of anxiety is not just frightening, it's dangerous. Rapid, shallow breaths deprive your already struggling heart of precious oxygen, and every extra surge of adrenaline makes things worse. In those moments, it's so easy to feel completely helpless, like you're at the mercy of your body and the ticking of the clock. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But you are not powerless. You can take action, even in the face of overwhelming fear. I'll never forget my patient Vivian, a remarkable woman of 71, who told me that controlling her breath quite literally saved her life. When the pressure in my chest started, I could feel panic clawing at me, she said, tears welling in her eyes as she remembered that terrifying day. But I clung to your breathing technique like a lifeline. Every inhale, every exhale, it gave me something to do, something to focus on, something I could control when everything else felt out of my hands. Her story is just one of many that remind me how deeply powerful this technique can be. The 4-7-8 breathing method, first developed by Dr. Andrew Weil and backed by solid research in cardiovascular medicine, is stunningly simple, yet deeply effective. Here's exactly how you can use it if you ever find yourself facing the nightmare of a heart attack, especially if you're alone and waiting for help. First, try to sit down in a comfortable, supportive position, just as we discussed in the previous tip. If you can, find a spot where you feel safe and stable. Next, place the tip of your tongue gently against the ridge just behind your upper front teeth, and keep it there. Exhale completely through your mouth, letting the air out with a soft whooshing sound. I find that sound oddly comforting. It feels like you're letting go of fear and tension with each breath out. Close your mouth and inhale quietly through your nose to a slow count of 4. Hold that breath for a count of 7. This part is tough if you're feeling short of breath, so don't force it. Hold as long as is comfortable, even if it's just for 2 or 3 seconds. Finally, exhale fully through your mouth, again with a gentle whoosh, counting to 8. Repeat this whole cycle at least 4 times, and keep going gently until emergency help arrives. You might be asking, why does this matter so much? The magic lies in the long, controlled exhale. This act switches on your parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural rest and recover mode. It counterbalances that tidal wave of panic, gently slowing your heart, easing your blood pressure, and sending more oxygen to your heart muscle right when it needs it most. I've seen seniors regain clarity, lessen their pain, and even stave off the worst, just by using this breath work. Research from the Journal of Emergency Medicine found that conscious breathing during heart attacks can cut pain perception by almost 30%. That's not just numbers, that's real relief in the middle of a life-threatening event. And perhaps just as important, taking charge of your breath gives you something positive to do. Do something to focus on besides the fear. I can't stress enough how vital that sense of control can be in a moment of chaos. It's what lets you communicate your needs to emergency responders or make those crucial decisions when every second counts. Please remember, while this breathing technique is powerful, it is not a substitute for medical care. It's not a cure, but it can give you precious extra minutes. It can calm your racing mind and your overworked heart until professional help reaches you. And, best of all, you don't need anything special. Just your breath and a little bit of courage. So please, don't wait until you're scared and alone to try it. Practice it now, teach it to your loved ones, and keep it close. It might just save your life or the life of someone you care about. In our next tip, we'll explore a more controversial, yet potentially life-saving, technique reserved for very specific moments when you're alone and experiencing a heart attack. Stay with me, because what you learn next could make all the difference. Tip number 6. Self-administer chest compressions if necessary. This 6th life-saving tip is one of the most intense and, honestly, frightening things I hope you'll never have to use. Yet, I believe in facing reality with honesty and courage, especially when your life might hang in the balance. Most people never think they'll find themselves gasping for air, heart pounding erratically, alone and afraid, desperate for a miracle. But heart attacks don't wait for help to arrive. Sometimes, all you have is your willpower, a bit of knowledge, and your own 2 hands. Let me say this as clearly as I can. Traditional CPR cannot be done on yourself. It's simply not physically possible to do full, proper chest compressions on yourself, especially if you lose consciousness. This is a sobering truth. But in those terrifying moments before you black out, there is a modified technique you can try. One that's controversial in the medical world, but that I, after 4 decades as a cardiologist, believe seniors deserve to know about. I don't want anyone to have regrets about not having tried everything possible. I remember vividly the story of Samuel, a patient of mine who was 74 years old. Samuel was alone in his remote cabin when he felt that crushing pain in his chest, the telltale sign of a heart attack. He later told me, with tears in his eyes, "Doc, I thought that was it. But I remembered what you'd said. I was so scared, but trying that self-compression made me feel like I was fighting for my life instead of just waiting for the end." Miraculously, Samuel survived until a neighbor found him and called 911. His courage and this technique bought him precious minutes. Here's what you do if you ever feel yourself starting to fade while waiting for help. First, immediately get yourself onto a hard, flat surface. Right down on the floor if you can manage it. A bed or couch is too soft to be effective. It might feel strange or even humiliating, but remember, you're doing this to save your own life. Every second counts. Next, make a tight fist with one hand and place the knuckle side directly in the center of your chest, over your breastbone. With your other hand, grip your fist and push firmly, hard enough to compress your chest about 2 inches. Then, let go and repeat. The motion may feel awkward or even painful, but you're aiming to mimic, in some small way, the pressure of real chest compressions. You want to keep this up at a steady rhythm, about 100 compressions per minute, which is the same beat as the classic song Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. That song isn't just catchy. It's a real, life-saving memory aid. Continue this rhythm. Press, release, until help arrives or you start to feel more stable. Don't stop, even if you're scared or exhausted. This is your fight for survival. Now, let's be honest. This is not a perfect solution. It's not a replacement for true CPR performed by another person. But if your heart suddenly starts misfiring, if you feel faint, dizzy, or like you're about to pass out, this motion might help pump blood to your brain and vital organs just long enough to buy you a few more precious moments. In a desperate, life-or-death emergency, doing something is almost always better than doing nothing. A word of caution. I would be irresponsible if I didn't warn you that this method does carry risks. If you have osteoporosis, fragile bones, or a history of rib fractures, you could injure yourself. Broken ribs are a real possibility. But, let's face it, if you're alone and your heart has stopped or is failing, you are fighting for your life. When the alternative is death, most doctors would say it's worth trying every last resort. Still, let me be clear. This is not the first step. Always call 911 at the first sign of a heart attack. Take an aspirin if your doctor has said it's safe. Get into the safest position possible, and use all the breathing and calming techniques we've talked about earlier. This self-compression technique is a bridge, a last line of defense, a way to hold on a little longer until the professionals arrive. My greatest hope is that you never need to use this tip. But if you do, I want you to have every tool, every ounce of hope, and every bit of strength possible. Remember, you matter. Your life is precious. You are not powerless, even in the darkest moment. Up next, we'll talk about one final piece of preparation. A simple but crucial step you can take right now today to make sure you're ready for any emergency. Please stay with me. Tip number 7. Prepare in advance. Create a heart attack action plan. Of all the life-saving tips I could share with you, I truly believe this 7th and final tip may be the most crucial of all. Take the time to create a heart attack action plan, uniquely tailored for you, before a crisis ever strikes. I cannot emphasize this enough. Your preparation in the calm moments could be the very thing that saves your life in the chaos of an emergency. Why is this so important? I've seen again and again how people, even those who are usually calm and clear-headed, can become disoriented, scared, and almost paralyzed by fear when their heart is suddenly in distress. The pain can be blinding, the anxiety overwhelming. Even worse, during a heart attack, your brain quite literally gets less blood, making it far harder to think clearly or make good decisions. I've watched strong, independent seniors lose their bearings in these moments. Please, don't underestimate how confusing and terrifying a heart attack can feel. No one is immune. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. One story that always stays with me is that of my patient Louise, a bright, spirited woman of 79. Louise was adamant about not leaving things to chance. She carefully wrote out her heart attack action plan, reviewed it every few months, and practiced it in her mind. When the unthinkable happened and she was alone, she didn't have to rely on memory or hope she'd figure it out. Louise just followed her plan, step by step, as if she were on autopilot. She later told me, her voice trembling with gratitude, "If I'd had to make decisions in that moment, I might have panicked or hesitated. Having my plan ready to go, it honestly saved my life." That kind of preparation isn't just practical, it's an act of self-love and courage. So, how can you take charge and build your plan? First, make an emergency medical information card. Write down your full name, age, all medical conditions, a complete list of medications, any allergies, your primary doctor's name and phone number, and your emergency contacts. Make several copies. Keep one in your wallet or purse, and tape another to your refrigerator, somewhere any visitor or first responder can spot instantly. I've seen people add little reminders, like a sticky note that says, "Look here in an emergency." Sometimes, these details truly matter. Second, keep aspirin in easy-to-reach places. This is such a simple thing, but it makes a massive difference. Make sure it's real, chewable aspirin, not Tylenol or another painkiller. Put a little bottle by your bedside, another in the kitchen, one in your bag, even in your coat pocket. You never know where you might be if symptoms strike. In my own home, I keep a packet right by my front door, just in case. Please don't leave this to chance. Every second counts. Third, program your emergency contacts into your phone and label them ICE in case of emergency. Modern smartphones even have a medical ID function you can fill out. Take 5 minutes and set this up, even if technology isn't your strong suit. Trust me, paramedics and hospital staff are trained to look for these details, and they can speak for you if you cannot. Fourth, if you live alone, consider a medical alert device. I know some people feel these are for old folks, but honestly, they're for anyone who values their independence and their safety. Today's devices aren't bulky or embarrassing. They can be a simple watch, a pendant, even a ring. Many have automatic fall detection or instant emergency calling features. I always tell my patients, this isn't a sign of weakness, it's a badge of wisdom. Fifth, make your house number impossible to miss. In an emergency, those extra minutes spent searching for an address can mean the difference between life and death. Invest in large, reflective numbers, and make sure they're visible both day and night from the street. It's a small effort for a potentially huge impact. Sixth, practice your emergency response. Yes, physically walk through your plan. Sit in the chair where you'd wait for help, find the aspirin, open your door locks, whatever you might need to do. Let your hands and body remember these steps. In the middle of an emergency, you want to be able to move automatically, not wonder where the aspirin is or how to unlock your door with shaky fingers. Finally, involve your loved ones. Share your plan with family, trusted neighbors, or friends. If you live alone, set up a system of regular check-ins. Even a daily phone call can provide peace of mind for both you and those who care about you. Update your plan at least twice a year, especially if your medications change. And ask your doctor whether you should have nitroglycerin at home. This can be a true lifeline for those with certain heart conditions. Let me share another story, one that moved me deeply. Richard, whom I mentioned at the beginning of this video, was 72 and lived alone after losing his beloved wife. Despite his grief, he found solace in gardening, and his spirit was quietly resilient. One sunny afternoon, Richard felt an odd pressure in his back, a weariness that didn't quite fit the pattern of simple fatigue. Because we'd talked about the subtle warning signs in seniors, how a heart attack might feel less like pain and more like pressure, nausea, or odd fatigue, he listened to his body instead of dismissing it as just getting older. Richard sprang into action. He called 911 right away, chewed an aspirin he always kept in his garden vest, and sat down in an upright, supported position while he waited, focusing on slow, deep breaths, something we'd practiced together. His front gate was already unlocked, another habit he'd formed from his action plan. The paramedics arrived in just 12 minutes. They immediately started life-saving treatment. At the hospital, it turned out Richard was experiencing a major heart attack, what they call a widowmaker. Thanks to his preparation and calm, Richard avoided severe heart damage. 6 months later, he was back in his beloved garden, tending to roses, alive to savor another season. When I visited Richard for a follow-up, he told me, "I always thought I'd just know if I was having a heart attack, but the symptoms were nothing like I imagined. I'm so grateful we talked about what to expect and how to respond. I shudder to think what might have happened if I just sat down and tried to rest, waiting for it to pass." Richard's story gives me chills every time I remember it. It's proof that being prepared doesn't mean you're living in fear. It means you're choosing hope, strength, and survival. Over the years, I've watched many seniors beat the odds simply because they took these steps seriously. Now that you know all 7 life-saving tips, please, don't let this be just another video you watch and forget. Start today. Recognize the unique warning signs for seniors. Call 911 right away. Take aspirin correctly. Position yourself safely. Control your breathing. Learn self-compression for extreme situations. And above all, create your heart attack action plan now. You are never powerless, no matter your age or circumstances. Preparation is the most loving gift you can give yourself and your family. Take this step. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Your future self will thank you, and you'll give yourself the very best chance of coming through an emergency with your heart, your health, and your hope intact. Before we say goodbye, I want to take a moment to thank you for staying with me through these life-saving heart attack tips. I truly hope that by watching this video, you've gained not just information but the motivation to protect yourself and your loved ones. Remember, knowledge is powerful, but action is what saves lives. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What have you learned so far? Was there a tip that surprised you, or a step you realized you hadn't prepared for yet? Please take a moment to comment below and share one thing you've learned today that you will bring into your daily life. Your experience and commitment might inspire someone else watching, too. If you found this video helpful, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Together, we can build a community that's better prepared, more confident, and safer. One step and one story at a time. Thank you so much for watching, and please take care of your heart. Your life is precious.